Professor of chemistry now at the University of Benin, Professor Julius Iyasele. So welcome to the program this morning on ITV.
We try to say Christmas, happy
Well, Merry Christmas in arrears now.
And then the New Year in advance.
In advance.
Yeah, so nice having you. Good morning, viewers
out there.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to be looking at what's happened a couple of days in the DRC, whereby the Democratic Republic of Congo had to go through their presidential election. As a matter of fact, is what we call the general election back home in Nigeria here, where the president is elected, members of the parliament are also elected, governors are elected, and at times too, local government chairmen are also elected. So that was what happened about 48 hours ago in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, the election is not the big thing. The big thing about the election is that for the very first time in the country, DRC citizens in diaspora voted. DRC citizens in the US, in Germany, in the Great Britain, and in France voted. So we're going to be looking at diaspora voting, the impact it can have on politics in Africa. Remember, this is one thing that Nigerians have also clamored for, a situation whereby Nigerians outside the shores of the country can actually take part in election, even as they sojourn in foreign land. After all, Nigeria is their nation. So Nigerians have been saying that it's high time that the federal government should try to initiate a legislation whereby Nigerians in diaspora can vote. Professor, we saw what happened in DRC. So how would you want to react to it in the first place?
Yeah, well, you're talking about the shambolic election of Congo Kinshasa.
The election is the president there.
Yeah, the election that was supposed to hold for one day, that is on the 20th of December, and then even by Christmas Day,
it was still
in
ongoing.
Some suburbs, the elections are still going on and all that. But then there's a very serious credit to the country, to the president that's on seat, that has been there for about 5 years and all that. That is since 2019. That is Felix Tshisekedi. The truth about it is that, they have been able to conduct the diaspora election. It's a very, very beautiful one. But my fear now is why they have not been able to conclude the election well. That even with diasporans voting, that they are still moved. Even for Wednesday, today, for protests in that country, although it has been banned and all that, because the incumbent president had won about 81%
he's
of
on the
total
lead.
votes that
at the time,
yes,
about some few hours ago, he has been on the lead.
Yes, that is it now. Of about 2 million votes, he's won about 81%. Though you have about 40 million persons that registered, because Congo is about 112
million
people, yes. Yeah. But about 40 or 44 million voters registered. Very great and all that. But then, of all of that, 2 million votes have been counted. Nobody knows how many had voted. And Felix Tshisekedi, the incumbent president, has about 81% of that total votes. That is an election in which you have a Nobel Peace Prize winner participating it's a presidential hopeful or something like that. You have businessmen, educated people. That is one good thing that I have seen from DRC, that very, very much aware people, presidential candidates and all that. But then the incumbent is still leading. But following what you have said, very beautiful thing that a country that is very, very poor, Congo, though with plenty resources, just like it is, just like it is in Nigeria also. Because if you are looking for cobalt anywhere in the world, you are looking for for copper anywhere in the world.
Hard
Basic
minerals.
Yes,
They are
minerals that are widely used and all that, with very great electrical potentials and all that. You find that they are still about second to the last, second to the poorest nation in the world. Followed, Haiti is just some distance away from them. Otherwise, they would have been the poorest. And that is a country where you have people like Patrice Lumumba. You understand? I think they are Belgian colony, and they have also faced war, civil war, like Nigeria, that ended about
issues,
2003 and all that. But with the level of poverty, and for them to be able to develop a process of getting their diasporans to vote is something worthy of emulation. The surprise is that such a country is able to do it, and then we, who are giants of Africa, have not been able. Still beats me hollow. So it's kudos to the former Zaire. They have had so many names. You call them Congo, if you want to call them Congo.
You call them former Zaire.
You want former Zaire. You want to call them DRC. You call them Congo Kinshasa.
I think they later settled for DRC,
Democratic Republic of Congo. Yes.
All right, now, Professor, what are the major pullouts now? Because like what we're saying now, that despite their perceived very poor nature as a country, despite the abundance of mineral resources in Democratic Republic of Congo, it is about the first country on the continent of Africa now that is doing diaspora voting. Now, what do you think, what are they doing that countries like Nigeria is not doing? I mean, Nigeria is big, just like what you said, the giant of Africa.
Yes.
And of course, from the look of things, I don't think in the next 5-10 years, if we can be talking about diaspora voting in Nigeria. What is going on in DRC that is not going on in Nigeria?
We have always said this. We have the potentials to do anything. It is political insincerity. If care is not taken, you just discover now that Felix, the incumbent president of DRC, has some population of friends or allies from the diaspora. I just wanted them to take part in the election. It is not as if there is any hindrance. What does it take for Nigerians outside Nigeria to vote? It is nothing. It is a matter of organizing INEC reps at all the embassies across the world. And then either they come to that place, and then, or with the system that they have,
the technology,
communication and technology outside there, everybody, from even their own comfort of their homes, will be able to vote. It's not like here where you have epileptic lights and all that. But there, you don't have any of these hindrances or something, or shortcomings.
Now, when you say, because I'm just trying to, talk from an experiential point of view now. If you've ever had the opportunity of traveling outside the country, maybe you resided for maybe 10, 15 years and all that, then you really want to say that you're a Nigerian, you proceed to any of the Nigerian consulates, the resident country now, then you apply for Nigerian passport. It takes almost a whole period. So with that kind of situation, do you see Nigeria as a country that our embassies abroad can facilitate election back home in Nigeria?
I wouldn't know why Nigerians will need another passport outside here. You went through the borders from here to another country. You went there as a national. If you are a known national in Nigeria, I guess if there's anybody in the US, for instance, who really wants to be in Nigeria that are not known as Nigerian.
Most times they destroy their passports, claim asylum.
Well, unfortunately, those people may not be able to vote. it's not everybody that can vote. But let the genuine, those who stand and claim they are Nigeria, let those ones participate in the election. I don't see any problem in that. Then if it is anything to go by, if it becomes an advantage and they see there's need to influence who now becomes president of Nigeria, let the rest go and find a way to get
now,
their
will that
their
impact on the quality of election that we have?
Definitely. You know, the credibility that you add there. In this country, for instance, it's assumed that the cream de la cream are outside here. Those of us who are staying here is as if maybe because of the wherewithal, we don't have the wherewithal or thereabout. That is why we have not been able to live here. That is the way it looks. You know the kind of respect Nigerians have for foreigners or even our persons who are outside the country. You know that.
So, if we start having diaspora votes in Nigeria, it's going to better, inform the kind of choices of president and leaders. That
definitely. That's the only the drawback that I have for that of DRC. That even about that same 80% of diaspora voters or votes went to the incumbent president. But maybe they saw that they are feeling that he is doing well. Because I wouldn't think that the president will be able to go across there to influence, the vote. I'm sure. That's why, I posited earlier that it's very likely that he has a very strong relationship with persons outside Congo. You understand? That is why he even, implemented or facilitated the possibility of diaspora voting. Yes.
Okay. All right. So good enough. We understand that the diaspora voting in the DRC is not only for the presidential election alone. It cuts across, like what we said, that it's a general election that they had or that they are having, because the compilation of the results and all that, there are still some staggered elections now. We understand that some constituencies in the DRC, another election has to be arranged and all that. Now, the election, the diaspora election is not just for the presidential election alone. Some federal constituencies in their parliament, DRC citizens can also vote outside DRC for their members of their parliament. The way we have it here, we have our senators, and of course we have our House of Representatives. So that's one good thing. It's all encompassing as far as the diaspora election is concerned. Now, let's stretch it further. For Nigeria, some persons have said that it's also going to be kind of about diaspora voting, in the sense that you mustn't come to, like next year, Edo State is going to be having an election. Yeah. So you mustn't run back to Benin for you to cast your votes. You can cast your votes in any parts of the country where you reside for who will be the governor of Edo State. How will you respond to that?
Excuse me, let me tell you, a greater number of information about what's going on in Edo State here gets to me even through people who are outside the country. Some places that I don't know, things are happening here. So those people have their ears to the ground. People are worried about the way this country is run, and even the states and even local government. So it will be very nice that we have diaspora voting for any of the levels of election in the country. They know, we all know ourselves. They get information. They are even more available with information to assess the performance of either the incumbent governor or the political parties. Everybody knows. I'm sure those who really crystallize the last Labour Party election, or the candidate or Labour Party, were not one here. If you remember that, if the crisis, what they call it then, that led to monumental killing at Lekki Gate and all that.
The SARS
election. You know, many persons said they were sponsored by people from outside here, if you remember. And that the Labour Party influence came even from there. People were the people who really wanted to when things change here and all that. If that is anything to go by, you will find that the voting at our election, it will lay credence. Many people are even going to look at the kind of the cosmetics of voters from outside the country. They will use it, you know, as as a criteria, a benchmark to say, yes, this is the way our elections are supposed to go. You can imagine if that are taking place in the last presidential election. People will look at the percentage of those. That is, if it is not, you know, tampered with. If the information does not come that the election coming, the results coming from outside the country has been tampered with, people will use it as, you know, as a marking scheme for all the candidates, presidential candidates.
Their performance.
Yeah,
and all that.
exactly.
Yeah.
If you have the person who will carry the day on from the diaspora voters are likely to be the one that everybody will support, that is the true winner of elections in Nigeria.
Now, proponents
Really?
of
Yes.
diaspora voting are of the view that it is probably one of the best ways to actually handle vote buying, which has become a big issue. I don't want to say in Africa now, but
Yes.
in Nigeria,
Yes.
during election, you find politicians, you know, trying to buy votes and all that. So, do you see diaspora voting as a way of, you know, also trying to reduce the way politicians spend money trying to buy votes? And
It
all
will
that?
forestall it now. I mean, how are you going to reach them, and how many persons are you going to buy, you know, out there? Especially those with the credibility to vote at our elections. I'm not talking about those who are in the IDP camps or everywhere, or some places, those who are maybe have not been able to acquire homes and all that, not getting legitimate jobs and all that. We're talking about, you know, genuine Nigerians who are out there. Those people, if those people are voting, Nigerians will depend on the character of their votes to determine the performance of the different candidates. That is the basic truth. And it would help to assess actually the credibility of our election. Remember, I have said that, you know, we respect people from outside here. That is the truth. Yeah. You know, when our persons are visiting here, you know how they are respected and all that. So, votes coming from outside the country will be a great determinant of the quality of our elections.
And I think it's also maybe useful at this juncture now to want to add that diaspora voting is very near in Nigeria now. When I say near Nigeria, when you see the way politicians, like Edo election next year now, we understand that lots of the aspirants, they formed their base outside the country, some in the US, some in the UK and all that. So it appears that we are beginning to key into diaspora voting in no distant time. But we are still looking at the issues, you know, issues that, because when it comes to Nigeria, you know,
But you remember that in the last presidential election, there were protests in the UK,
in embassies,
several places and all that.
Yes.
But yet, nothing happened. These people were not taken into consideration and all that. Just tell me what stops the government from setting up, you know, a voting process outside here.
It's a matter of law. It's not
And
something
that, it
that...
is not a, just, law. Law is, they say, is an ass for those who are professionals in that area. You know, but it is the will power. It is politics. That is all. So if they want to do it, it's easy to do. There's nothing. Like I said, the technology, they have the technology there and all of that to cast their votes from their comforts. So it depends on who is in power in Nigeria. That's it.
So you are suggesting that the kind of technology that INEC has put in place now even if some people are saying that it's still not Uhuru, problematic in the sense that when the results are pronounced, they are still contextual, that they should use that kind of technology for diaspora voting?
You see, the argument here we had, the beavers, IREC,
Yes,
is that what we're talking about? Yes.
Yes.
How many people lose their money through ATM machines and all that? Very infinitesimal proportion and all that. Those can form basis of our vote or voting, the voting process and all that. What is wrong with all those ones? You go, slotting your particulars and everything, and then you press this who you are voting for. Because your particulars, the machine will recognize your particulars for you to be able to vote.
Yeah,
and once you vote,
we're looking at INEX portal.
Then, as you are voting, then it's showing
on the portal.
Yeah. This person is coming from so and so. We do something like that in the university. If we are releasing results in the university, for instance, we may not add your name and all that. We don't add your code number, and then you know your code. You know your own, like what we call matriculation number. You know it, and so once it comes, you know whether what you really voted, whom you really voted for, is what have that is. It is like that. Okay. It's simple. It's very, very simple. It's the willpower to do all of that. The beavers, the IRA, was it anything a problem? But the Nigerian Fathom went into it, and so you use it for the National Assembly election, and then refuse to use it for presidential election, and then you put one listing and all that. That is the problem. It is politics. It's sincerity. It is just people are holding Nigeria by the jugular. That is just all. Can you leave Nigeria alone and all that, and let the things wrong take its normal course? That is just the thing. If you allow it to take normal course, all of us will go to sleep. I'm telling you. This will work so easily.
All right, so I want to say thank you to Professor Julius Yasele now, Professor of Chemistry at the University of Benin here in Edo State, talking about INEC and, of course, talking about Nigeria. Now, we talked about the DRC, that's the Democratic Republic of Congo, that is, collating the presidential results that they had, some few days ago. And the election is still ongoing because they're having a staggered election now. So we took a cue from them, whereby diasporas, DRC citizens in diaspora had to vote in the election. All right, so we'll take a short pause. Professor, thank you so much
for having me.